Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us, Julia.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going ahead and allowing our guest speakers in, and then we'll get started with our check-in.
Good
Hi,
morning. Good
Juarez.
morning. How's it going?
Good morning. Going well. Thank you.
Thank you all for hopping on. Real quick.
Good morning. This is Jung from Excel Adjustors. How are you?
Doing well. Good morning, John.
Good morning. Good morning, Jabber.
Yeah, it's Jabbar. That's all right. It's okay.
Okay.
People,
Sarah
yeah.
will join in a minute.
Yeah.
Is Sarah C from your
Sarah's,
team because it's Sarah Cho, correct? I just want
yeah,
to make sure.
last
Sarah
name is
C
Cho,
is
CHO.
so I see a Sarah C. I assume she's trying to join this call, correct? Sh I'll add her in. Let's
Yes,
see.
she will
Sarah
join
C.
in. Yeah, she just joining now.
Okay, perfect. So it looks like we're all here. Thank
Good,
you
good.
all.
Perfect. Perfect. Yes, so it's pretty straightforward, how we're gonna run things. And I know you all, Crystal has shared some of the insights in regards to the audience that we're in front of, these small businesses. A lot of them have applied for the grant program. Hopefully you had a chance to look at the profiles, data, and hopefully that was informative for your presentations. But like I said, we'll kind of go in the order of the run of show that we sent out, and try to be brief. I'll probably open up, just give some welcome remarks, and we'll just go in order. Is there any initial questions or anything? And then, like with the presentations, Crystal will be able to they'll be able to share their own screens, correct?
Yes. So
Okay.
I just gave you access now to be a co-host, which will allow you to share screen. We have enough time if we wanted to start kind of with the run of show flow to make sure your presentation looks good, your audio's good, and we can do it that way. But as of now, I see everyone has co-host permission. So what we'll do is I'll kick it off. So I'll show you what our screen will look like. So when we let folks in, I will be sharing screen of our brief remarks and presentation. Let me pull that up. Okay, so if I were presenting, I would go first. So Jabbar will give you that update about the grant program. The deadline is August 31st. So I want to make sure anyone on the call is aware of that and that our final webinar is next week. And here's who will be there. So we'll try to get folks to sign up for that. Then we will have Jabbar introduce the webinar and opening for our guests that are here, our keynote speakers. So it'll be very quick. I think it's within 5 minutes just to make sure, everyone is aware of who will be here. And that way, if there are questions, they might start putting them in the chat, even if you may not be presenting. So what we'll do on our end, we'll be monitoring them, as we're going through the run of show. And then if you see a question that might be directed to you, we just ask for any help in responding to that when you get a chance or during your presentation or even during the Q&A portion. So that's what we anticipate being the flow there. So as you see here, Julia Juarez will be first. And then once we're done introducing, sorry about that. Once we're done introducing, we will just stop sharing at this point. So we'll give a brief, I think Jabari will still cover this portion today about
Mhm.
list scaling or
Yeah, we got a long list, so I might touch on it briefly, but Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll try to keep things moving. One
Yeah.
other question: do we have resource partners that we're going to give remarks or?
Rachel, we invited Rachel. I don't know if you can see if she tried joining yet. Maybe she's in the waiting room, but I invited
Oh,
Rachel to do brief remarks.
okay.
So
Okay.
that
So,
would be first in line.
okay.
So Jabbar will present a little bit about LISC LA, and then, I would stop sharing at that point if Rachel, let me double check if she's in the waiting room.
Yeah, I don't see her.
I don't see her either.
Well, if she's, I'll just mention that they're, a partner and a resource partner. So if she doesn't show up, yeah, we should be good. And then
Awesome.
we'll just hop right into you, Julia, and yeah, should be a great morning.
Do you want
I
us
appreciate.
to
We
go
can,
off video while the other people are sharing?
I think so. I think that would be helpful. Yeah, so everybody can have the spotlight. That would be great.
All right. I have a question.
Okay.
yes.
Sorry, I think I tuned into a little minute or two late. Will we be sharing our PowerPoint, or is there any possibility way that you would be sharing it for us?
Uh, you would be able to share it yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we would be sharing our screen.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
when you're presenting, I will spotlight you as a presenter.
Okay.
And we could do, if you don't mind, we can go one by one just to make sure your presentation is showing up. So we can test that real quick. We can start with Julia. I think Julia, you were about to share. But we
And I
can kind
did.
of do a run
I
through.
just checked to see if I could, and it came
Let's-
out that I could. So I would think.
Welcome to the LA Rise and Renew Wildfire Recovery webinar. We appreciate everyone hopping on this morning. Um, what I like to do is feel free to use the chat and introduce yourself. We always want to maximize the value of these webinars and create. We're a convener. We want to create opportunities for you, not only for you to connect with us, provide resources, but we want you to connect with each other because you never know who's on the call, who might be able to help you um, um, with your business or any issues that you might have. So uh, we're gonna get started really quick because we got a stellar lineup and we have a good list of experts that can help you. But first and foremost, I'm Jabbar Wesley. I'm the Senior Program Officer and I lead our economic development programs at LISC LA. For those of you that don't know much about LISC LA, LISC LA is a community development financial institution, and we're probably the largest CDFI in the country. And we've helped businesses probably in the last year deploy about $3.1 billion into communities. And this is kind of one of our priorities to help businesses that were impacted by the 2025 wildfires. So, some of you on the call have already submitted your applications for the $5,000 grant. I want to give a special thanks to BMO, which is our funding partner and very important piece to this launching this program. Applications, if you haven't submitted your application deadline was actually extended to August 31st. I do want to preface as we get to the Q&A, let's try to keep the questions central to the content of the speakers, but we do have an avenue for questions related to the grant, LA Rise at list.org, and we can help and have our staff respond as soon as possible with those questions and inquiries. So, with that said, I want to Also give a shout out to some of our community partners, Altadena Chamber of Commerce, tap in with them, Pasadena Chamber of Commerce, as well as Malibu and Pacific Palisades Chamber of Commerce, and also Los Angeles Business Council as well. Those are some great resources for all of the businesses on this call. So with that said, we're going to start off with our first speaker, which is Julia Juarez. She's the Deputy Commissioner in Community Relations and Outreach for California Department of Insurance. And so she's going to speak briefly and share some guidance on, guidance from the California Department of Insurance on consumer protections, as well as highlight some available support for this community. So with that said, I'd like to pass it to you, Julia, and we appreciate you for being on this webinar.
Good morning. Thank you so much for the invitation. I am delighted to be here with you. Again, my name is Julia Juarez, and I am with the California Department of Insurance. I just want to make sure that first and foremost, you are aware of the Department of Insurance, what we are here for, and how we can be of assistance to you as a business. We are led by Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara, and we enforce regulations on most lines of insurance and maintain insurance insolvency, making sure that the insurance market is thriving in the state. So we set standards for agents and brokers, and then of course one of the biggest things that we do is resolve consumer insurance complaints. And so we very much so work closely with any person, organization, or business who might have had any losses due to wildfires or any type of insurance issues. And so we work with them and their insurance to make sure that you are made whole. Along with that, we also perform market conduct reviews of insurance companies. So if they are doing something that is not appropriate, we investigate. We make sure that that is addressed. And then, of course, we investigate and prosecute fraud, insurance fraud, in every form as well. So that is the gist of what the Department of Insurance is here for. We just give you a general rundown. I don't need to really go into much detail on this, but truly, I know that many of you are aware of just the challenges that we have had with insurance throughout the last, I would say, 8 years or so since the Camp Fire in Paradise. We have seen major losses in insurance claims. And so because of that, the top 12 companies that really took care of the state's homeowners market and business market have just paused new insurance policies here in the state. And so that has, coupled within the FAIR Plan, just increasing in policies there, has really just stressed the market in general. And so I just wanted to show you this so that you can understand the intensity of all of this. Through the 80s and up to the Camp Fires, we have seen the disasters throughout the country at about 20, between 25 and 30 billion dollars of losses. And so this week we are actually going to be releasing information about the losses through the fires in Altadena and Pacific Palisades, and that has actually gone up to over $25 billion with this one, with these particular fires. So you can see the difference in the stress that has really caused in the market. However, we have been able to truly work with the industry, work with consumers to find solutions. And so we started with the Safer from Wildfires framework. And basically what that did is it made sure that insurance companies offered premium discounts to homeowners and businesses that did things to mitigate their risk. So bring down the risk in any way, shape, or form. Along with that, then we implemented the sustainable insurance strategy, which really uses catastrophe modeling. So we're not looking at for price in the future. We looked at what is the actual risk of local communities. So we are allowing insurance companies to utilize that rather than historical data. And so by doing that, we are making sure that they are able to account for any mitigation that is being done in local, with properties, with the communities and the landscape of the entire area. So that has actually given us more tools to be able to do our job better. As well, we are reviewing policies and also working with insurance companies to make sure that they are able to provide the services and take care of the policies that they have in place. And then along with that, we also have the California Safe Homes Grant Program that just came to be, and that is grants for low-income homeowners in high fire hazard severity zones to help fund those defendable space areas in home hardening. And so that is coming, that we just received that grant. And so we are putting all of the details together for that. And so by the end of the year or so, you're going to be hearing more about that. But just wanted to give you a general overview of what is happening in the market and why that is important. This is really what the Safer from Wildfires framework is, looking at protecting your business specifically with very specific things that you can do. And so every insurance company in the state now must take all of this into account when they are reviewing your policies so that they can make sure that they are giving you the appropriate rates. So we are working together with them, and you're going to hear from other folks, but it's basically just protecting your actual business. You're protecting your immediate surroundings. I'm sure you have heard of Zone Zero, but basically the whole point of that is just making sure that you are safer from wildfires. And then it is working together in your local community to create opportunities for the entire community to be safer. So you can be part of a FireWise community, or and that is really a minimum of 8 units can be part of this, and then they can create an action plan to become safer together. And so that is, you can be a FireWise community or a fire risk reduction community. So the wonderful thing about that is that you are able to then be able to apply for grants that will help you then get all of these things together, as a community. So that is available for you. And the difference, the reason that is important, and you can see here, I just wanted to show you really quickly of what CAL FIRE shows people, that a wildfire prepared home that does not have wooden fences or vegetation right underneath their roofs, that those homes, those entities actually survive fires much better than those that do not. And so here you can see, I mean, this is within 15 minutes, a building can be completely decimated. And so this is really what we're looking at to help people with that. And so just so you know, the sustainable insurance strategy, what really came out of that was that we do have the technology for catastrophe modeling. We modernized the department to make sure that we are able to review and in quicker times. And then we are also then requiring insurance companies to write in wildfire severity zones. So in those areas that are going to be deemed that are, where we have a bigger number of people on the FAIR plan. So it will be really trying to get people out of the FAIR plan. So those are the major issues that we're doing there. Because we have been doing that, we are seeing that insurance companies are now working to make sure that they can come back to writing throughout the state, getting people out of the FAIR plan. So far we have 11 companies who have committed to growing in the state, and these are the companies that are actually writing again. So if you are having any issues finding insurance companies, these are some of those companies that have already submitted all of their paperwork, and they're already doing some work in the state. I wanted to make sure that I addressed the FAIR plan. As of October 15th, the FAIR plan will have an increase in its prices. And so what does that mean? And that is, overall book of business, they are going to have an increase. And so what that means is that if you are in the FAIR plan, this is the opportunity for you to look at who else is selling in your area. If you can, there are several ways that you can do that. There are, admitted companies, which are the ones that normally do business in the state. Non-admitted companies are those companies that are allowed to sell in the state, but they are not covered by SIGA, which is the organization that basically just makes sure that if the company does go belly up, that they are able to cover all of their expenses. So those are the things that we are looking at there. But I wanted to just give you a general idea, of course, of where are we. In 1994, during the Northridge earthquake, we saw us go as a state going through something like this. And so what happened is 90% of the insurance companies stopped writing in the state, earthquake insurance in the state altogether. We had to create the California Earthquake Authority. And so now we have 90% of the nation's earthquakes that happen in California, but only about 10 to 15% of the homeowners in the businesses in the state actually have earthquake insurance. So we did not want that to happen again. So looking at the fires, looking at all of the excess of losses that we have seen, when we created the Safer from Wildfires and then the Sustainable Insurance Strategy, we truly prevented a total market collapse and are stabilizing our insurance rates. I know that some of you might still have, are still going through the process and might still have, very high premiums. However, I do want you to know that the market is stabilizing, and so then we will be able to get back to California being still the largest insurance market in the entire United States. We are fourth in the world, only behind the total of all of the United States markets, China and the United Kingdom. So California is absolutely still, very much so working as the largest insurance market. We do have some bills because we realize that there are things that people are going through. We are still working on smoke damage recovery. And so that is basically creating standards so that when that happens, we are able to actually cover those losses that have not been addressed in the past. We are also looking at all the different coverage gaps and we want to make sure that there's clarity in your policies. So that is the Disaster Recovery Reform Act. And then we're also working with a FAIR plan to make sure that the FAIR plan is accountable to all consumers who are actually using the FAIR plan as well. So I wanted just to remind you of what are the insurance availability for you as a business. We have the admitted market, which are those companies that are able to sell insurance in the state. The non-admitted market are those that maybe are not necessarily are from out of the state, out of the country, but they can still cover insurance. And then we have the California FAIR Plan, which is the absolute insurance of last resort. And so additional insurance for that is we have flood insurance that is not covered by general insurance, earthquake insurance, and of course the difference in conditions policy that will go with the FAIR plan. And so those are things that are available to you. I want to make sure that you know that there are tips for you. if you receive a non-renewal notice, contact your insurance company immediately. Don't wait. Don't you're going to have about 75 days. Don't wait for like 5 days before to find insurance. No, call them, talk to them, and see if there are specific things that you can do to make sure that you can keep your insurance. Sometimes it's something very simple. You do have a minimum of 75 days, but if you think that there is something wrong, that they are not working with you, the Department of Insurance is available to work with you and the insurance company to find resolutions. And I want to make sure that you know that you can shop around. You should shop around. We have hundreds of insurance companies that do business in the state. If you have a broker who can't find you insurance within the admitted market, and then they don't have the bandwidth locally to find you an insurance company that is doing business here, locally for you, go to a broker that is not necessarily in that area. So if you're in Los Angeles, go to a broker that's maybe in San Diego or Sacramento, something like that, because they might have other insurance companies that they might work with that are not so saturated in the area, who might be able to give you better rates. I want to make sure that you're aware also of all the resources that we have available in the Department of Insurance. We have guidebooks for you on how to file a complaint. What are the things that you need to know? There's a lot of information that you can get here, but also we have, in our website, but then also in the department, we have an 800 number that you can contact and you can talk to someone directly. We have also our consumer alerts, and I suggest that that you just sign up for those, because that just gives you information on new things that are coming up, the new regulations, any type of insurance or fraud prevention that you need to know about. All of those different things we have available for you. And finally, I want to make sure that you are aware that we are hosting the Insurance Diversity Summit that is happening on October 7th. And as I was telling you earlier, that the insurance market in California is the largest in the country. We do have a lot of business that happens there. We want you to do business with insurance companies, with that industry. And so we have this event that we host every year that really works with you to prepare you for, doing business matchmaking, resources and networking opportunities for you to do business with these insurance companies as well. So along with that, we have an education series coming up. Today, we have a health insurance webinar, and we also have our business insurance webinar in October. And I want to make sure that you're aware, we have our 800 number where you can contact us and you can talk to an expert who can help you with your claim, with any type of question that you have about any type of insurance. They will be able to work with you on that. So with that, I want to give the mic back, but I'm available for any questions after this, of course. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. That was great. That was awesome. Yes, definitely tap in with Julia and her team, and definitely we want to provide those resources. Definitely attend those events. That will be something that will be helpful to you. I want to move on to our next speaker, Brittany Parks, which is an associate at Haynes and Boone LLP. She is an associate in the litigation and insurance recovery practice group in the firm's San Francisco and Orange County offices. And she represents policyholders in a wide variety of complex insurance coverage matters, helping corporations recover funds under a variety of insurance products, including policies covering directors, officers, etc. And she's going to discuss legal considerations for disaster affected homeowners, renters, and small businesses, including insurance and recovery related issues. So with that said, we'll pass it to Brittany Parks, and everyone give her a warm welcome.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for the introduction. And let me just share my screen here so I can get my presentation up. But I am happy to be here and talk to everybody about how to navigate insurance and This presentation is geared towards a small business, but I also have a lot of experience with helping homeowners. I have two pro bono cases at the moment with homeowners who have suffered losses from the LA fires that happened recently. So to the extent that anyone has any questions in that regard, please let me know at the end of this presentation. But let's get things started. I hope to teach you everything you need to know about insurance policies and insurance recovery in the next 10 minutes. At least I'm going to try. So why insurance? I think that, this is a relatively obvious question and answer, but as you guys may have experienced, to the extent that you have small businesses in LA, and your businesses may have a wide range of liabilities that insurance needs to respond to and help you get coverage for those losses that you may incur. The LA fires, for example, we not only need insurance coverage for the property damage that we may incur, but there are also other different types of losses that your business may have incurred. The smoke damage, business interruption from the civil authority orders for the evacuations. There was a fallen tree that may have prevented ingress or egress to your business that may have caused another type of business interruption to you. Not only is the property damage covered, but also the resulting business loss. So insurance can be a very valuable resource to you. So there are many types of insurance products in the market that are available to potential policy and future policy holders. And I will walk through you a few examples of insurance policies that I think are most relevant to your types of businesses as small business owners. So before we get into that, let's talk about the two groups of insurance policies. We have first-party insurance policies that protects policyholders for their own losses. These are claims that you suffer the loss yourself, and you yourself, as the first party, are submitting it to your insurance. So this includes, again, any damage you may have incurred due to the LA fires. If your property was damaged by the fire, you are submitting that claim directly to your insurance company. Now, the other category is third-party policies, and that covers claims that you may receive by a third party against you. So these are lawsuits that could be brought against you by individuals who may have been injured on your property or by employees. This type of coverage is meant to provide you with coverage for the cost you incur to hire an attorney to defend against that lawsuit, and for the amounts that you incur due to settlement payments or judgments that may be placed against you after you fight that lawsuit. So let's get back into the specifics of the different types of insurance policies that your company might be interested in. First and foremost, we have general liability. This is kind of a big catch-all. It's often referred to as CGL or CGL insurance policies. These cover accidents, including bodily injury, property damage, and sometimes advertising injury. And that includes claims, for example, like defamation. Are you advertising things in a way that may cause someone else to sue you for defamatory statements made in those advertisements? Next, we have product liability. Now, if you have a company that does a lot of manufacturing or wholesaling or distributing or retailing, this type of insurance will protect you against claims made by third parties for injuries, perhaps, that they incur due to your product. Next, we have professional liability insurance, or it's referred to oftentimes as E&O insurance, errors and omissions insurance. This is for service providing businesses. If you give expert advice, if you work in design, physical care, this type of insurance is meant to respond for any claims by third parties against you for example, negligence in the performance of those services. Next, we have commercial property policies. Some of this can be covered by your CGL insurance. These types of policies are standalone policies really geared towards property damage. And this can include the physical loss or damage to the property itself, or that can also include damage to your personal property that happened to be on the property at the same time. And this can also include business interruption losses. So as I kind of previewed to you before when talking about the LA fires, this type of loss not only includes the physical property damage, but any losses you may incur in the fact that you had to stop business due to this fire damage. Or were you trying to mitigate the losses? Were you trying to add some costs and trying to prevent your company from incurring further losses due to a fire or due to an explosion, something like that, or a hurricane? What did you have to go out and buy to make sure you didn't suffer any more damage to your building? Insurance coverage might respond to that. These commercial property policies also can be further divided into two categories: all risk, which are pretty broad, and they might have specific exclusions for types of events that are not covered, or we can have peril-specific policies. You can buy a policy that specifically covers you for fire or hurricane or for earthquake. Your premiums might be a little higher right now, but that is an option to you. Next, we have employment practices liability insurance. And this is just meant to generally cover you for claims made against you by employees for discrimination, wrongful termination, and retaliation. I will also add that directors and officers coverage is also just sometimes tied into this type of policy. So to the extent that you have a board of directors, you might have a combination policy where it's employment practices / directors and officers, because your directors and officers may have claims filed against them, and you want to make sure that that type of claim is also covered by your insurance. Okay, so now that we know kind of the scope of types of insurance policies that are out there for you that may respond to your specific business's liabilities out there in the world, let's talk about insurance policies specifically, because I know the first time that I read an insurance policy, it was like a foreign language to me. It is very dense, oftentimes confusing. So here is just, my quick tips on what is an insurance policy, what's included, and what are the important provisions that you should probably be looking at when you have a claim or when you're looking to purchase insurance. So first and foremost, you're going to have a declarations page. It's going to have a named insured provision, which is hopefully you or your business, or maybe you're included as an additional insured. We're going to have the policy period, which is important. And let me just go on a little side here, because some policies are occurrence-based policies and claims-made policies. Now, those phrases probably don't mean anything to you, but so let me give you an example. Let's say that you have a slip and fall on your property, and there's someone who gets injured because they're claiming that you did not put up proper signage and there was water on the ground and they slipped and fell, broke their leg. And that occurred in 2024. Now they get their surgeries and they finally come around to suing you for that in 2025. Why is that important? Well, you might have a policy that you have in place for 2024 and a different policy in place for 2025. An occurrence-based policy is going to apply the insurance of when the claim occurred or the wrongful act. That could be the injury or the wrongful act of negligence. So the 2024 policy would respond in that instance. But if you have a claims-made policy, the claim was not made, the lawsuit was not made till 2025. In that instance, that is the year in which your policy would respond. Different policies have different phrasing. CGL policies are often occurrence-based policies. So some of my clients, for example, have asbestos exposure from manufacturing asbestos. Their policies from 1970 are responsive, even though the claims are not being brought until today. And claims-made policies, most often your employment policies, your D&O, your property, you're going to want to report that claim during the policy period in which the hurricane, the fire, the explosion, the lawsuit happened. Next, your declarations page might include a deductible or self-insured retentions. These are amounts that you, the policyholder, need to pay or incur for the loss before the insurance is responsive. The declarations page will also identify limits of coverage on a per occurrence or aggregate basis. It's basically how much is the insurance company going to pay you for a loss in total. And after the declarations page, then we get into the nitty-gritty of the insuring agreement. What is covered? What will the insurance company do in the event of a loss? What are your duties as an insured? What are the insurer's duties? So as a quick highlight, this may include your duty as a policyholder to timely provide notice of a claim. So as soon as you know of a claim, you need to report it to your insurance company. And my best practice is don't wait for the lawsuit. As soon as you get a demand letter from, let's say, the underlying plaintiff's counsel, or as soon as you learn of that fire damage to your property, don't wait. Report it immediately. This is also going to include the policyholder's duty to cooperate with the insurance company. To the extent the insurance company, after you report a claim, requests any information, give them that information right away. Keep detailed records. The insurance company also has rights and duties as described in the insuring agreement. They might have the right to control defense. So let's say in our slip and fall example, you hire defense counsel. Well, your policy may provide that the insurance company actually has the right to select their own defense counsel and to control the defense. The idea being if they're going to pay, they should probably have control of the defense and select counsel. So you have to keep that in mind before incurring costs in hiring your own defense counsel that they might not want to pay for. They might also similarly have the right to settle the claim. Okay, so now that we have an idea of the type of insurance policies out there, what the heck is included in insurance policy, let's talk about you getting the right insurance for you. I recommend hiring a broker who is knowledgeable about your business and about the insurance market out there. As Julia described, in California, the insurance market, particularly for fire coverage, is up in the air, and finding the right broker who's going to give you the right premiums is going to be a task, but one that you should invest some time in. They can help you assess what kind of liabilities your company might face in the future and select the right insurance policies and coverage that is best for your company. And I think I have one more minute. Just very quickly, my nitty-gritty quick guide to submitting a claim. You need to identify all potentially responsive insurance policies. Immediately notify your broker who can help assist you in identifying which policies might be responsive. And they can also assist you with giving notice to your insurance companies within the time period your policy might require you to do so. Because if you don't do that, they might have the right to deny coverage and you will be out of luck. Your broker will also be hopefully aware of all of those tricky provisions in your policy that are conditions in order to get coverage to help you make sure you maximize your insurance recovery. In the instance of a fire or any type of property damage, make sure you try to take every action in your control to prevent further damage from happening. Make sure you cooperate with the insurer's investigation. After you submit the claim, they will review the claim and then they will likely ask for information. They might go investigate the property themselves. Make sure you are available to do interviews, that your accountant is keeping detailed records of your losses, your business interruptions. Keep an extremely detailed list of every expense that you've incurred. Again, it is not just the property damage, it includes all business interruption. Any cost that you've incurred because of a slowdown in business or anything that you've had to purchase to try to prevent further damage to the property, that could be covered by insurance. So make sure you're detailing everything. And to the extent that you face any issues, the Department of Insurance is a resource and attorneys are a resource. And that's why my job exists. If you get a denial, but you think that is wrongful, reach out to an attorney and they can assess the tricky aspects of insurance policies, particularly under California law, and what rights that you have to obtain that insurance to make you whole. Because you're paying those premiums, you should hopefully get a payout at the end of the day when something happens to your business. And I think that's my time, so I will hand the mic back over.
Thank you, Brittany. Thank you, Brittany. That was awesome. Definitely some great information that you shared there. Again, put your questions in the chat. We'll get to those questions at the end, but we'll move on to our next speaker, Karla Estrada Sanchez, which is a paralegal in the Small Business Development Program at Tzedek Legal Services, which invests in underserved entrepreneurs to nurture talent, develop innovators, and empower those who wish to build a better future in marginalized and underserved communities. The program provides comprehensive legal assistance to low and moderate income entrepreneurs and small business owners in Los Angeles County. And Karla's going to highlight free legal services and advocacy resources available to help survivors navigate recovery challenges and protect their rights. So with that said, I'll pass it to Karla.
Hello, everybody. I am Karla Estrada, and I work with Tzedek Legal Services, and I'm very excited to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation. I will go ahead and share my screen now. Wonderful. All right, so let's start, shall we? All right, so first of all, I would like to give you a brief overview of what Tzedek Legal Services does and who we are as a nonprofit. We are an agency with over 40 years of history and counting. We are actually a very, very big nonprofit. Like I work specifically with the Small Business Development Program. However, like we also provide like immigration services. We also provide like an employee like rights clinics, like elder justice, elder abuse justice. Like we are a very big nonprofit that also focuses on other type of laws, but today we're just going to focus on the Small Business Development Program. We provide free legal services to individuals in Los Angeles County only. Unfortunately, we are unable to offer these services to people from the Inland Empire or from the OC. However, like if you are in those areas and you require legal assistance, you can still contact us, because although we cannot represent you, we can refer you to the appropriate agencies. Like we are an equal opportunity, nonprofit, which means that we provide services to everybody, regardless of race, religion, and especially immigration status. We are going through a very difficult time in that area, and therefore, like, we want to ensure everybody that your information is safe with us, and then we are doing our best to keep providing our services to people in that status. And let's continue. All right. So the Small Business Development Program project is designed to help low to moderate income entrepreneurs with a wide range of things for of not only legal services that we do transactional. With transactional means that we can only assist small business owners with services that have a beginning and an end, right? Like specific projects. Unfortunately, we are not equipped to represent anybody in court or any type of litigation. And unfortunately, this includes like eviction. If you are already in an eviction court case, we cannot assist with that. However, anything before that we can assist. And that is not the only services that we provide. We go out to our community. We do community presentations like the one of today, but not only about our services, we also do like top tips. We entity structure, intellectual property. In fact, we have like an upcoming intellectual property webinar and consultation academy coming up in November. So, we do several, like a very wide range of services, not only transactional. We also have several guides and other free resources, like on our website. If you go to our website, you will find in English and Spanish guides like for the starting entrepreneurs with very young entrepreneurs. And we also even have small videos in our YouTube channel. So, there are plenty of things to use like in our program. And obviously the direct line representation. So a bit of the matters that we cover here at Tzedek, again, it's only transactional, not litigation, but we help with business structure and entity formation. If you need a consultation about what entity structure is best for you, we can help you with that. Or perhaps you need to dissolve, or perhaps you need to change it. We can also help you with that. We can assist with commercial contracts like a master service agreement, or perhaps you need to review a contract from like a contractor, or from the city, or, whatever it is, we can help you with that. We can also review commercial leases, which is so important, including like negotiations with your landlord. So we can help you with that, like review it and landlord negotiations. As mentioned before, we do intellectual property, which means that we focus on trademark and copyright. We do have like patent, but unfortunately that's a bit hard to place. So we mainly focus on trademark and copyright. So if you are trying to trademark your business logo or your business name, we are here to help you. Or perhaps you have like a character that you created in your business, then we can help you explore copyright options. We also help with employment law, although I do have to be clear about this. Unfortunately, if you have a dispute with your employee, we cannot assist with that. However, we can assist with if you're trying to convert your independent contractors to actual employees, or you need a employee handbook, or you just want to learn how to be an employer because your business is catering towards that, it's growing and it's going towards that direction, we can help you with that. And then internet privacy, such as the policies, the terms and conditions, we can help you review those or create those. Bankruptcy, unfortunately, bankruptcy does require, if you choose to do that, litigation. We don't do that, but we can help you with counsel and advice to decide whether that is something that you want to do, that is something that is best for you and your business and your projections, or if you just want to explore like types of bankruptcy, we can help you with that. But with the actual bankruptcy process, unfortunately, not yet, but we hope so in the future. And finally, insurance. We are not brokers, unfortunately. However, like we can help you review policies, and we can help you steer you in the right direction of what you want to do, of like what you want to choose according to your needs. So eligibility criteria. So unfortunately, we do have severe eligibility criteria for our pro bono services, but this is not a one thing. It's not like a carpet that covers everything. Like our eligibility criteria depends on household income, like how many members of your household, like your monthly and annual income, and we used to do business profits and sales factored. However, like because things are so hard to business owners nowadays, we have waived that portion in order to make it a little bit more fair. But we also take into consideration, for example, like whether your business is unique or you are part of a an underrepresented like community, that we also take that into consideration. And at Tzedek Legal Services, we are bilingual, primarily English and Spanish and Cantonese. However, we do have access to other languages, and everybody is welcome, and you will be serviced in your language. And finally, how to get help. On the screen, you will see our actual application link. I will also put it in the chat. You can also email me directly. My name is Karla Estrada, and this is my email, Sanchez@tzedek.org. And for the free resources, You also will see the link on the screen. Or if you simply have any questions, if you don't know whether you should apply or not, or perhaps you just want resources and you cannot find them in that link, then also please just email me and I will provide any other type of resources that we have available for you. Again, like we do not turn anyone away, and even if they do not qualify to our services, we will try our best to give you the resources that we have available and to steer you in the right direction so you can get the assistance that you need, regardless whether you're an LA County resident or not. All right, so and I just do want to say a very quick disclaimer is that when you apply to our services or when we are not immediately your attorneys, you do have to go through our intake process. So that takes a little bit of time. And most importantly, if you are ever in community with us and you are participating in a webinar, like it is very important that you remember that we are not your attorneys yet, and that like any questions that you may have for us at Tzedek, to not put like in personal information just because we are concerned about your privacy, and we cannot actually like give you any counsel and advice unless you apply to our services and go through the intake process. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for your attention, and I will, throw the ball back to Jabbar. Thank you, Jabbar.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Karla. That was great information. As you can see, we have a diverse group here of resources. I see the questions coming in. Hopefully, we still got folks in the lineup, so hopefully we'll have be able to answer your questions through these presentations as well as the Q&A. So let's move on to the next. Thank you again, Karla. Let's move on to the next speakers. Jung Park, I want to introduce Mr. Park. He's a licensed public adjuster with nearly 30 years of experience in the insurance claims industry. So a lot of experience there since 1996. He has led a South California-based firm representing property owners statewide with a focus on protecting client interests and securing fair claim outcomes. He and his team have handled thousands of property damage claims involving earthquakes, fires, smoke, water losses, vandalism, and major catastrophic events. Sarah Cho is a public adjuster at XL Adjustors as well. And she brings structure and clarity and care to every claim she supports. So with that said, I'm going to pass this over to Mr. Park and take it from there.
Good morning. This is Jung Park. It was my privilege to speak with everyone. I've been practiced for 30 years as announced. Just California alone, somewhere 2,500 to 3,000 claims have settled. In my experience in the Hurricane Katrina that I help and assist as a public adjuster and also the administrator of a law firm in New Orleans. I was there for 8 years to claims resolve about 2,100 cases. So I have a pretty extensive experience over the nation. So in my experience that I understand that each state have a totally different policy. California is the most protected for the consumers or business owners because the insurance commissioner, they made a great law, and then they protect the best. Even today, I handle some out-of-state claims, and they are not good. They are not for business owners or homeowners. So I'm here to help you. I'm going to give you straightforward information. I started with the Northridge earthquake claims that out of nearly 1,800 cases, nearly close to 300 cases actually settled after lawsuit filed. We are not lawyers, so we have to work together with a reputable lawyer, and then we attend with all our client, policyholder attend, and the courtroom, we eventually settled all of them. So my extensive experience, I can guide you, I can help you at any stage you need. We just basically don't give up until policyholder get paid in full. We believe whatever that amount they owe, we never give up. So Sarah will go ahead and start to talk about this wildfire. Sarah, can you go ahead, please?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I just want to make sure everyone can see our screen.
Looks great.
Yes,
Thank you.
you're good. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for having us here today. I am a public adjuster at Excel Adjustors, Inc. And I'm here to kind of differentiate between urban fires and wildfires. There's a drastic difference between these two because what happened in the Palisades last year, it shouldn't be viewed as just a typical wildfire, because a urban fire is generally, it involves wildland vegetation, but it also involves a lot of things that come into play, such as nearby buildings, cars, older construction materials, and that's the main difference between here. The reason I draw this line for policyholders is because when you're dealing with combusted plastics, right, or insulation, nearby wiring, electrical vehicles, right, these all have contaminations, and it's important to test each property. Okay, so I'll get into CAM 17 a little bit later, but a pure wildland fire that never reaches structure, it does not raise the same contamination concerns as a urban fire. So I just wanted to differentiate that. This is important for businesses that did not burn down, because a surviving building can still have questions involving smoke intrusion. So we all know smoke can enter through doors, through windows, HVAC systems, and other penetrations. Ash material can settle on inventory, flooring, ceiling systems, and difficult to access areas. It can also affect business interruption, because even when flames never touch the building, there's evacuation orders, there's utility interruption, access restrictions, and even remediation can stop operations. So I do want to make it clear that just because there's no physical fire damage to a business, it does not automatically mean that there's no physical impact. CAM 17. This is the next slide. I wanted to kind of get into detail. It's a California Hazardous Waste Material Panel that we test after a fire. The next slide after this, I'll get into each of the metals, but especially after a urban fire, to find out what is exactly in the ash and soot, and sometimes even in the soil, we do test for CAM 17. For the business claim itself, these results are the evidence. This is the evidence for the policyholder, because they tell us whether we're negotiating a standard cleaning and repair or a full remediation. And they give us documentation that we can send to and justify your claim. There's also clearance testing that must be done after the CAM 17 testing and remediation is completed, just so that we confirm that the business space is safe, that people and workers alike can come back to the business property. I want to emphasize on, I want to ask everyone here to consider just a hypothetical block, okay? A block containing a vehicle and a electronic store, an older construction building with electrical equipment and even products with chemicals, everyday cleaning chemicals that we use. When all that burns, that resulting particulate matter is not going to be same as a forest fire. That's why CAM 17 testing is so important. And that's why laboratory analysis can be so important for your business claim. However, I do want to clarify that just because one metal is detected, that does not mean that the entire building is contaminated, because we have to ask how much was detected, where was it detected, what was the medium. For example, was it dust sampling, wipe sampling, wall cavity testing? These are things that Mr. Park will talk in detail in a bit. But yeah, I do want to make it clear that CAM 17 specifically will give us data. And the environmental professional, we usually work with certified industrial hygienists, then has to interpret that data into the context of exposure, background conditions, locations, and applicable standards. These are the 17 defined heavy metals. As you can see, they're a mix of well-known hazards, sometimes like lead, arsenic, mercury. There's also beryllium. These are a lot of metals that we barely think about, but I want to show the full list to policyholders because it makes the actual scope concrete. It does. And this is not just a concern about toxins. It's a defined laboratory verifiable panel that either clears the property or documents exactly what has to be remediated. And that's why it's important to work, again, with certified industrial hygienists. We live in California, and we do have wildfire seasons here. So for business owners, I did want to just prepare everybody that, wildfires, urban wildfires, we're going to run into them again. Hopefully not anytime soon, but we live in California, and because of these seasons, it's becoming an environmental and insurance and business issue. So I do want to leave you with some tips. And I can't emphasize this enough, but to please take pictures of your inventory, your place of business, keep all invoices, keep inspection reports, certifications, records of upgrades, upkeeping, because these documents may ultimately affect both insurance availability and possibly pricing. Thank you. And I will turn this over to Mr. Park.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. So out of these heavy metals, so I will just point out just one thing that even cobalt, when we have a group of experts to regularly discuss about how to deal with this CAM 17 heavy metals, which is define the hazardous material. But please remember, only lead and asbestos, that's the only regulated by the federal, which is governed
Right.
by FEMA. But all other 15 metals, remaining metals, never regulated. But speaking with the other environmental experts some saying that even cobalt, if you find even less than, 0.5%, less than even 1% out of this urban wildfire, that neighbors burned thousands structures, carried that anything burned from copper, galvanized, batteries, Tesla batteries, all other chemicals, and all create the fire dust and penetrate and then affect even homes and business owners. And we are in challenging, we figure out how to deal with this. And in Department of Insurance, they're also trying to do that, but it'll take a long process to finalize. most of these heavy metals, it is harmful if you if you the stay in the living space or retail business. It's not safe. So it's a really big deal. It's really big thing that everybody have to know about this. We are looking for when and how soon government will regulate the most of these heavy metals. Okay, I'll move on about small business owners or homeowners. So the no visual flame does not mean no property damages. Sarah explained some that these contaminants may enter HVAC system and ductwork, attic and insulation, walls and ceiling cavities. So basically, any building, even house and commercial buildings, they are not airtight. The building, when they build this is just these are not airtight, not watertight. So when the wildfire create a massive of a wind and then carry the dust, will penetrate in almost everywhere inside of the building or homes, even inside of a wall too. Even with today, even this month, we cut the wall, we took a sample, send the laboratory. The test result positive, and most of we took a sample after cutting the wall. Really, after we cut the wall, we took a sample, send the laboratory, and then test became most positive. So homeowners or business owners does not know about this, and please contact us. Will help you on that. So business owners as inventory, machinery, electronics, all those things, the oftentimes they just overlook the many items because they try to make a list out of what they can remember. But most of a record of purchasing, purchased inventory, they usually store inside of their retail stores. Then there's no evidence. Insurance company keep asking for the evidence. Show me the proof of ownerships. So these kind of things have to deal with. Somehow you have not got paid the policy limit, and please contact us. The most of the business owners or homeowners, they try to clean, and then there's still quite a bit chance to discover that evidence. A lot of business owners or homeowners forced to move back in. For business owners, of course, landlord have to rebuild the buildings, but most of the landlord has not rebuilt for business owners, unfortunately. And the other thing is most business owners, we discovered they are under insurance, unfortunately. That's why that everybody looking for some additional loans. This organization helping you on that. So it's great things what they are doing. Whenever you have questions, please give us a call. It is a free consultation, and then we'll do the best we can. And we're looking out just simply for the business. We'll look out, the business owners and homeowners for their benefit as well. And give us a call and let me know if you have any question. We can answer you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Mr. Park and Sarah. That was excellent. We, just wanted to say, we wanted to bring Mr. Park and Sarah on to give some more practical insights. So we appreciate them for being on and providing those insights. And, after the call, we'll be able to share their information as well and for follow-up. But we'll move on to our final presentation, and this is Janet Ruiz. She's the director of strategic communication for the Insurance Information Institute. And she leads communication across the Western United States, based in North County, San Diego. But she brings more than 30 years of experience in the insurance industry. And so today we're going to let her speak and provide her perspective on disaster recovery, insurance preparedness, and resources to help consumers make informed decisions during this rebuilding process. So with that said, we'll pass it to Janet. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's go to slide 2. I am with the Insurance Information Institute, and our promise is that we at the III are a trusted voice of risk and insurance, and we provide data-driven insights to educate, elevate, and connect consumers and professionals, public policy makers, and media. And we're really going to focus on slide 3. We aren't lobbyists, so what we do is educate and help people understand insurance. And I saw some of you asking different questions, so I'll try to answer a few of them. But what I really want to focus on, because you've heard so much today, excellent information. I can't thank LISC and the other groups so much for providing all of this, because insurance is a little bit complex. It's a lot complex. So what I want to focus on after all that you've heard is bring you back to protecting your dreams with the right coverage. So some of you may not have had insurance, some of you may have been underinsured. So let's get on the right page as you move forward. What type of insurance do you need? Well, after catastrophe, you need business interruption insurance, and it's part of your business office package policy. We call that a BOP. So if you can remember BOP and you talk to an insurance agent, they're going to understand what you mean. And maybe you don't know the difference, but an insurance agent usually only writes insurance for 1 or 2 companies. An insurance broker or brokerage firm writes insurance for many insurance companies. If you have a homeowners policy and you have a small business out of your home, most of the time you can ask your homeowners insurance company if they have business in the home coverage. That may be sufficient for you. Again, I'm going to encourage you always to talk with your insurance agent or broker to make sure you have the right type of coverage. And I know usually you're too busy to really spend time doing that. But unfortunately, with the type of losses we have, especially wildfire exposure in California, as they said, it's urban, it's wildland urban interface. Everywhere I go, I've lived in Northern California, Southern California, I'm always near some type of wildfire exposure. So, do you have the right coverage to protect your business after a loss or catastrophe? A business interruption is what's going to keep your business on track. So, when you are, even in an area that had a lot of wildfire exposure, you may have smoke damage, you may have to close, you may have to evacuate. So, lost revenue or profit due to having to close. And then your fixed expenses. You may not be able to operate, or maybe there's nobody in the neighborhood anymore coming to your business. So you have your fixed expenses, your rent, your loans, your utilities, your payroll. Maybe the people that work for you can't get to work right now if you're like a small restaurant or one of those type of businesses. And then it's the cost to operate from a temporary residence. So your building was destroyed. Now you have to find a new place to go to work out of. Or if you're working from your home was destroyed, or, any of those scenarios. So that's why business interruption, if you remember anything from the webinar, is such an important coverage to have moving forward. I know we can't go back, but we are preparing to be a resilient community in the future. So that cost to operate from a temporary residence, it could be moving, it could be rent, is super important when you go through a catastrophe. We've talked a lot about the claims and the recovery process. And I think Julia and some of the other speakers did a great job of giving you resources. I want to just go over the numbers from FEMA and the Small Business Association. 40% of businesses don't recover, don't reopen after a catastrophe, and another 25% fail within a year. I've had experience up in Lake County, California, which is very rural, and the subway went out. So many different businesses went out of business, and then it takes quite a while to get more businesses back in. So that's why it's so important to take the time now, look at the risks that you have, talk with an insurance professional. Business interruption insurance can really help you get back on track. It's not that expensive, and it's so worth talking with your insurance professional. We don't expect you to remember all these coverages. The two things I'd like you to remember is to ask about a business, a BOP, the business and office package, and then business interruption coverage. We went over all the liability coverages, which are also important, a little more complex. I did look through the list of businesses that are looking for grants, and I think some of them are smaller businesses that aren't as complex. But please, if I leave you with anything today, take the time to understand the risk you have and understand which coverages you need so that in the future you will be resilient and you won't be part of that 40% that doesn't reopen or the 25% that goes out of business within a year. So I'm going to leave you with that. We have a lot of great information. You can go to the last slide on iii.org. That is our insurance information website. It's free to the public, and we have a whole section on business insurance. So thanks again for having me today, and I really look forward to more resilience in our communities.
Awesome. Excellent. Excellent. We finished on time. Great job. Um, I want to, do we have any questions in the chat that haven't been answered? Crystal, and team, Christian, what do we have in the chat that
Oh,
hasn't?
okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I had a couple of questions, and they were having to do with, I was wondering if I process my claim property for smoke and soot damage for the Eden Canyon fire. The property I live on had store had has I had, we had stored business equipment, but the thing about it is we didn't list that this equipment was stored on the property, we didn't know if we even needed to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is that something that you could answer,
I can
Mr.
take a
Park or
first.
Sarah or Brittany? Yeah, fine.
Yeah,
Go.
I can take a first stab at that. I think, when in doubt, always go back to your insurance policy, see if there is language for personal property items to be potentially covered
Mhm.
in the face of a loss. So go back to the policy, read it through, and see if personal property is included. And
Correct.
that can include, and that might have been specifically enumerated in the policy as well.
Mhm.
So I don't think it's too late if you think that the insurance company um, did not pay out for everything that you may have suffered loss for. Create a detailed list, reopen the claim number, send a letter, send an email, whatever contact you have,
Mhm.
and follow up and be persistent. Um, I saw you had a few other questions as well. It
Yes,
looks
yes,
like you have a catering business.
yes.
Um, I think Janet's recommendation of the BOP insurance, the business owner's policy, is always a great place to start. Of
Mhm.
course, talk to your agent or broker about what's best for your specific business. And I personally have never represented a catering company before, but I imagine that you're mentioning that you don't have like employees, but you have work for hire.
Correct.
The BOP should include and coverage for bodily injury or property damage you may experience. It could probably enumerate commercial property coverage for your equipment that you probably use while catering.
Yeah.
You may want to think about the additional business interruption coverage that Janet was talking about as well, and that I also briefly mentioned. And finally, I think you mentioned question about insurance for events. Um, again, this is not totally legal advice, but just,
Oh yeah.
hypothetically speaking, when it comes to event cancellation coverage, that's more, in my experience, for like really big events like the Grammys or something, or like sports events. Um, I think that probably your contract with the host or your customer
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
uh, can have provisions about what to do
yeah.
in the event of a
Yeah,
cancellation
we
and
do a
who pays.
cancellation policy. Yeah.
So
And
insurance might be a way.
yeah, I think I can jump into the other event type thing that you'll have to deal with is sometimes giving a liability certificate. So again, that's easy and you just go through your insurer. And then on the equipment, take pictures. Everything else that you just shared is perfect, but be sure and take pictures of everything that you're going to be turning in. And again, yes, you can always reopen your claim if you have more things. Maybe not always, but within the first 2 years at least of a catastrophe,
Mhm.
you can send in more. You can also just call your agent ahead of time and ask them to go through it with you.
Okay. Yeah, because now then we have the lawsuit against Edison and we have that attorney on it too. So and I just want to make sure that everything's covered correctly for, all the business equipment that was on the property at the time. Because some of it's stored in a tough shed and stuff like that, and so.
Only the disadvantage for you is mostly the lawyer against the Edison. They usually charge higher percentage, so it may not for your benefit. So you should look for settlement against your business owner's policy.
Mhm.
So that is your best interest.
So you said look for a settlement with, I mean, with Edison
A
and
claims,
No, no,
no, a
no, no.
claims
Against your
settlement.
only your business insurance.
Yeah, with a claim settlement through your insurance. If it's covered in your insurance, you want to get, everything that's covered
right, right,
paid for.
yeah. And I was wondering because I was going, yeah, because he's a public adjuster, and I know he knows about those things in depth and dealing with that. Um, and so he said, now which I'm mixed up here. Which insurance was it? Edison insurance or the insurance that I primary insurance for it?
The
Your
primary
business insurance.
insurance.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
business insurance.
Uh,
Your insurance policy. And for one thing, it's going to be a lot faster. You're not going to get any money from Edison for quite a while.
okay, yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I was wondering, so the previous insurance, and I was thinking about the hygienist that they sent out. And see, I noticed that all the different metals and toxins that they had, the list of all the 17, I think it was. And I was like, well, I don't know if they tested for all that. I'm like, because I know they did some testing, and I don't remember being disclosed or what the results were of the testing, but I know they found smoke and soot because we were out the home for 9 months. And we had a lot of things that were done. I'm wondering, did I miss anything?
Well, the simple question is, you can ask your public adjuster, hey, can I have a report that we tested for Chem 17 heavy metals?
Mm-hmm.
Then that's how you'll know.
Okay, right.
Yeah. If you haven't, or your public just haven't, and you can ask him, isn't it too late to do it? Or ask him, he'll advise you.
So the insurance, they're the ones that send the hygienists out. So I would have to get their report, ask their,
They'll
hygienist.
give